Good morning, student. So today we are going to start a new topic, that is a gametogenesis from the chapter Human Reproduction. So let's start it. Gametogenesis is the process of formations of a gamete for the sexual reproduction. In case of male, the gamete is sperm, and in case of female, the gamete is ovum. So when these two gametes will get fused, it will form the zygote. And these gametes are formed by a process which is called as a gametogenesis. So in gametogenesis, female gametes are produced in ovary by a process that is called as a oogenesis. And male gametes are produced in testis by a process that is called as a spermatogenesis. In case of male, a spermatogenesis begins at puberty, that means at the age of 12 to 13 years. So now we will see the process of spermatogenesis in brief. So before starting spermatogenesis, we need to know what are the spermatogenic cells. So spermatogenic cells or the germ cells, these cells are basically present in seminiferous tubules along with the Sertoli cells. And these cells work as a precursor cells for the spermatozoa. That means spermatozoa will arise from these spermatogenic cells. As in childhood stage, testis is not fully developed. So in that condition, these spermatogenic cells will be present in primitive stage. And when these spermatogenic cells will be present in primitive stage, then these cells will be called as a spermatogonia. And as the puberty stage will start, then these spermatogonia cells get developed into the sperms through the different stages. Now we'll see the different stages of the spermatogenic cells. So the first stage is spermatogonium, second is primary spermatocyte, third one is secondary spermatocyte, fourth one is spermatid. So these different stages of spermatogenic cells seen from the periphery to the lumen of the seminiferous tubules. Stages of spermatogenesis. So spermatogenesis occurs in 4 stages. The first stage is a stage of proliferation, second a stage of growth, third a stage of maturation, fourth a stage of transformation. So the first stage is stage of proliferation. So each spermatogonium cells contain diploid number of chromosomes, that means 23 pairs. One pair from the paternal origin and second pair from the paternal origin. So the 23 pairs of chromosomes basically includes 22 pair of autosome chromosomes and 1 pair of the sex chromosomes. So these sex chromosomes includes 1 X chromosomes and 1 Y chromosomes. So these sex chromosomes basically decides the gender, and these autosome chromosomes will decide the other features of our body besides the gender. During the proliferative stage, spermatogonia divide mitosis and without any change in chromosomes number, by which it will form the primary spermatocyte. So here I just use the word spermatogonia. So you don't need to confuse between the spermatogonium and spermatogonia. So both the words are the same, but the difference is that spermatogonia is the singular form and spermatogonia is a plural form. So this is the only difference. That means when there will be so many spermatogonium cells, then collectively it will be called as a spermatogonia. So that means during the stage of proliferation, these spermatogonia cells will go under the mitosis, by which it will form the primary spermatocyte. And during this stage, spermatogonia migrate along with the Sertoli cells towards the lumen of the seminiferous tubules. So the first stage, a stage of proliferation. So each spermatogonium contains diploid numbers of chromosomes, that means 23 pairs. 1 pair from the maternal origin and the second pair from the paternal origin. So these 23 pairs of chromosomes includes 22 pairs of autosome chromosomes and 1 pair of the sex chromosomes. In case of the sex chromosomes, there will be 1 X chromosomes and 1 Y chromosomes. And these sex chromosomes basically decides the gender, and these autosome chromosomes decides the other features of our body besides the gender. So during the proliferative stage, spermatogonia will undergo the mitosis and it will form the primary spermatocyte. So here I just use the word spermatogonia. So you don't need to confuse between the words spermatogonia and spermatogonium. The meaning of these two words are the same, but the difference is that spermatogonia is a singular form and spermatogonia is a plural form. So that means when there will be so many spermatogonium cells will be present, then collectively it will be called as a spermatogonia. So this is the only difference. That means spermatogonium will be singular and spermatogonia will be plural form. And during this stage, spermatogonia migrate along with the Sertoli cells towards the lumens of the seminiferous tubules. Second stage, stage of growth. So in this stage, primary spermatocytes will grow in size. Apart from the growth, there is no any other change in spermatocyte during this stage. Now the third stage, stage of maturation. So when these primary spermatocytes will grow in size, then it will undergo the meiotic or maturation divisions, which occurs in two phases. First phase. So in this first phase, each primary spermatocytes divide into two secondary spermatocytes by the meiotic divisions. The significance of this meiotic division is that secondary spermatocytes receives only the half number of chromosomes. That means now the secondary spermatocytes are the haploids. That means they will have only 23 chromosomes, including 22 as autosomes and one either X or Y chromosomes. So that means during the first stage, primary spermatocytes will divide meiotically and it will form the secondary spermatocyte, and these secondary spermatocytes will be haploid, that means having the half number of chromosomes, that is the only 23 chromosomes. It will not be 23 pairs, it will be only 23 chromosomes. Second phase. So during the second phase, each secondary spermatocytes undergo the second meiotic divisions by which it will form the two smaller cells that will be called as a spermatids. And each spermatid has a haploid number of chromosomes. Now the fourth stage, stage of transformation. So during this stage, spermatids get transformed into the mature spermatozoa or sperms by a process that is called as a spermio. Now we'll discuss about the spermiogenesis process. So spermiogenesis is the process by which spermatids become mature spermatozoa or sperms. So during this process, following changes take place. The first change is the condensation of nuclear material. That means in these conditions, nuclear material get condensed. The second change, formation of acrosomes, formation of mitochondrial spiral and tail structures. So these structures or these different parts of the sperms get arise in this change. The third is the removal of extra volume of non-essential. So as the sperm cell has to shows the movement, so that means it need a very small size. Because of that, during this change or during this process, the extra volume of non-essentials has been removed. After this spermiogenesis, spermiation process take place. So during this process, matured sperms are released from the Sertoli cell into the lumen of the seminiferous tubules. So in this figure we can see that seminiferous tubules are present inside the testis, and inside this seminiferous tubules spermatogonium is present, and this spermatogonium is arise from the primordial germ cell. And when the mitotic divisions take place in spermatogonium, it will form the primary spermatocyte. And now this primary spermatocyte will undergo the meiotic divisions by which it will form the secondary spermatocyte. And now the secondary spermatocytes undergo the second meiotic division by which it will form the spermatids. And then the spermatid get transformed into the sperms by a process which is called as a spermiogenesis. Then the sperms are released from the seminiferous tubules by a process which is called as a spermiation. Hormones necessary for the spermatogenesis. So now we'll see that what are those hormones which required at the different stage of the spermatogenesis. So at the stage of proliferation, follicle stimulating hormones and growth hormones are required. At the stage of growth, testosterone and growth hormones are required. At the stage of maturation, testosterone and growth hormones are required. And at the stage of transformation, testosterone and estrogen hormones are required. Now we'll see the role of different hormones in the process of spermatogenesis. So firstly, we will talk about the follicle stimulating hormones. So this follicle stimulating hormones is basically secreted from the anterior pituitary, but the secretion of this hormones is under the control of hypothalamus. Because when the hypothalamus will secrete gonadotropin releasing hormones, then this pituitary, that means anterior pituitary, can secrete the follicle stimulating hormones. Suppose if hypothalamus will not secrete the gonadotropin releasing hormones, then this anterior pituitary is not capable to secrete this follicle stimulating hormones. So follicle stimulating hormones is responsible for the initiation of spermatogenesis. It binds with the Sertoli cells and spermatogonia and induce the process of proliferation of spermatogonia. It also stimulates the formation of estrogen and androgen binding proteins from the Sertoli cells. And it also stimulates the secretion of inhibin from the Sertoli cell. So that means follicle stimulating hormones initiate the process of spermatogenesis. It also stimulates Sertoli cells for the formation of estrogen and androgen binding proteins, and it also stimulates the secretion of inhibin. Now we'll talk about the second hormone, that is a testosterone. So testosterone is responsible for the sequence of remaining stages in spermatogenesis. It also responsible for the maintenance of spermatogenesis. And the activity of the testosterone is highly influenced by androgen binding protein. So this androgen binding protein is secreted by the Sertoli cells. And this androgen binding protein will bind with the testosterone and transport it to the developing sperms. And in this way, testosterone can maintain the spermatogenesis process. Now we'll talk about the third hormone, that is estrogen. Estrogen is formed from the testosterone in Sertoli cell, and it is required for the spermiogenesis. Estrogen is typically called the female hormones and testosterone is typically called the male hormones. But this is not entirely accurate, as both hormones are present in everybody's body. But the higher amount of testosterone tend to be present in biologically male bodies, and the higher amount of estrogens tend to be present in biologically female body. That means both the hormones are present in everybody's body. But the range or the content or the amount of hormones is different. So if we see the average range of estrogen hormones in case of male body, it is about 10 to 40 picogram for every milliliter of blood. And in case of female, the average range of estrogen hormones is about 15 to 350 picogram for every milliliter of blood. Now the fourth hormone is the luteinizing hormones. So this luteinizing hormones is secreted from the anterior pituitary, and the secretion of this luteinizing hormones is under the control of the hypothalamus. From the hypothalamus, gonadotropin releasing hormones will be secreted, and that gonadotropin releasing hormones will cause the secretions of luteinizing hormones from the anterior pituitary. In males, this luteinizing hormones is called as a interstitious cells stimulating hormones, and this hormones is essential for the secretion of testosterone from the Leydig cells. Now the fifth hormone is the growth hormones. So this growth hormones is again secreted from the anterior pituitary, and the secretion of this growth hormones is under the control of the hypothalamus, because from the hypothalamus growth hormones releasing hormones will be secreted, and that growth hormones releasing hormones will cause the secretions of the growth hormones from the anterior pituitary. And this growth hormones is essential for doing general metabolic process in testes, and it is also necessary for the proliferation of spermatogonia. And in the condition of pituitary dwarf, the process of spermatogenesis is severely affected. Now the sixth hormones is inhibin. So this inhibin hormones is a peptide hormones and serve as a transforming growth factor. So this hormones is secreted by the Sertoli cells. In case of female, this hormones is secreted by the granulosa cells of ovarian follicles. And secretion of these hormones is stimulated by the follicle stimulating hormones. And if we talk about the function of these hormones, so these hormones play a very important role in the regulation of spermatogenesis by inhibiting FSH secretions. FSH, that means follicle stimulating hormones secretion, through feedback mechanism. And this FSH, follicle stimulating hormone, secreted from the anterior pituitary, which induce the spermatogenesis by stimulating Sertoli cells. So that's all about the role of different hormones in the process of spermatogenesis. Sperm is a male gamete or reproductive cell which is developed in testis. And sperm is also called as a spermatozoon. So it is a singular form, and in plural form it will be called as a spermatozoa. And when a sperm get mature, its length is approximately 60 micron. If you see the sperm count, so approximately 100 to 50 millions of sperm is present in 1 ml of semen. And in case of sterility, the sperm counts goes down, and in that conditions 20 millions of sperms are present in 1 ml of. Although sperms can be stored in male genital tract for a longer period, but after the ejaculation, its survival time is only 24 to 48 hours at a body temperature. That means after the 24 to 48 hours, it get destroyed. If we see the mortality rate of a sperm, so it is about 3 millimeter per minute, and it takes approximately 30 to 60 minutes to reach in the fallopian tube of the female after the sexual intercourse. And uterine contractions during the sexual act facilitate the movement of. If we see the structure of a sperm, so it will have a 4 parts: head, neck, body and tail. So the head of a sperm is oval in shape with a length of 3 to 5 micron, and its width is about 3 micron. Interior portions of head is thin. So the head is covered by a thin membrane, and its nucleus is condensed and its cytoplasm is thin. And the anterior 2/3 portions of the head is called as the acrosomes or gallia capitis. Now we'll see what is an acrosome. So acrosome is a thick cap-like anterior part of the sperm head which develops from the Golgi apparatus, and it is made up of mucopolysaccharides and acid phosphatase. Acrosomes also contains hyaluronidase and proteolytic enzymes, and these enzymes are required for the fertilizations of a sperm with the ovum. Now we'll see the second part of the sperm, that is a neck. So head is connected to the body by a short neck, and if we see its anterior end, so it is formed by a thick disc shaped anterior end knob which is also called as a proximal centriole, and the posterior end is formed by another similar structure that is known as a posterior end knob, and it gives rise to the axial filaments of the body. Often the neck and body of sperms are together called mid-piece. Now the third part of a sperm, that is a body. So this body is cylindrical in shape, and the length of the body is approximately 5 to 9 micron, and the thickness is approximately 1 micron. And the body of a sperm consists of axial filament which is covered by a thin cytoplasmic capsule. Axial filament start from the posterior end knob of the neck, and it passes through the body and perforated disc which is called as the end disc or end ring centriole, and finally the axial filament reaches the tail as an axial thread. In the body, the axial filament is surrounded by a closely wound spiral filament which consists of mitochondria. Now the last part of sperm, that is called as a tail. So this tail consists of 2 segments. The first segment is called as a chief or main piece, and the second segment is called as a terminal or end piece. So in main piece, it's enclosed by a cytoplasmic capsule and it has an axial thread, and if we see its length, so it's approximately 40 to 50 micron long, and the terminal or end piece has only the axial filament. Now we will see the quality of semen required for the fertility. So the minimum required quality of semen for the fertility are, the first one is volume of semen per ejaculations must be at least 2 ml. That means for one ejaculations the volume of semen should be at least 2 ml. If we see the sperm count, so at least in 1 ml of semen there should be at least 20 million of sperm. Number third is the number of sperms in each ejaculation must be at least 40 million. As we have seen that in each ejaculations the volume of semen should be 2 ml. So that means in 2 ml the number of sperm should be 40 million. Number 4, 75% of sperms per ejaculation must be alive. So that means as per ejaculations 2 ml of semens are released. So in that 2 ml of semen 75% sperm should be alive. 5 is a 50% of sperm must be motile, and 30% of sperms must have the normal shape and the structure. So these are the some qualities of the semens which is required for the fertility. So that's all for today's class. In our next class we will talk about the oogenesis. Thank you. So this is a figure of a sperm where we can see that it is composed of head, neck, middle piece and tail, and a plasma membrane envelope the whole body of a sperm, and the sperm head contains an elongated haploid nucleus, the anterior part of which is covered by a cap-like structure which is called as a acrosome. This acrosome is filled with the enzyme that helps fertilization of the ovum. The middle piece possesses numerous mitochondria which produce energy for the movement of the tail that facilitate sperm motility, which is essential for the fertilization. When the sperms are released from the seminiferous tubules, they are transported by the accessory duct, and the secretions of epididymis, vas deferens, seminal vesicle and prostates are essential for the maturation and motility of the sperm. The seminal plasma along with the sperms constitute the semen.